That broadcast school has really paid off.
CBS presents this program in color.
Hold it. I think you're going to like this picture.
Ready? Go.
Here's Mac Murphy. He's the man of the fans anymore. Here's Mac Murphy. It's the show with the most on the score. Well, he's never been in a press box. I talked with the shots through the locker room door. Yes, here's Mac Murphy. The fans come in, the fans on the score. And then Murphy's on. Murphy's on. Murphy's on.
Hey, how you doing, everybody? Murph with you from now until 2. Sports Radio 670 The Score. I am driven to you by ChevyDriveChicago.com. Let's see, we're going to go guest-free phones the first hour. Fans talking to fans with a solid hour of fan talk. If you wish to beat the crowd with a new, fresh topic, let's keep it on Blackhawks, White Sox, and Chicago Cubs. 644-6767 remains our famous phone number. Or if you'd like me to direct you, stick around. We will do that in a moment or so. How about this, Jay Zawoski? That's a good job last night, Jay, even though it was a loss. Fun listening to you and the Score heads phoning in, talking a little Blackhawk hockey last night. Text me right now, yes or no, 67011, powered by U.S. Cellular, 67011, yes or no. I say, almost like, in fact, I predict Blackhawks, Red Wings, the home team will win all 7 games. Wait a minute, that's good? That's not good, is it? It's not bad. It's not that bad. Yes or no, I really believe this. I firmly believe the Blackhawks are going to come back, win games 3 and 4. I believe then game 5 will be the loss. Game 6, I think the home team will win all 7 games. See, this thing's not over. This thing is not over till we say it's over.
What? Over?
No.
You say over?
No.
Nothing is over until we decide it is. Was it over when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor?
German? Forget it, he's rolling.
It ain't over now. Because when the going gets tough.
Yes?
The tough get going.
Yes!
Who's with me? Let's go! Come on!
This hour of the Score. Thank you, John. He not one of the potential minority owners of the Cubs. This hour of the Score brought to you by Future Vision Laser Centers, a better vision for your future. Give them a call, 630-920-5880. And Blackhawk fans, if this goes 7 games and the home team wins all 7, you got to say that's not bad. That is not bad. How could you be upset with the young Blackhawks taking this thing 7 games? That's what I think is going to happen. Yes or no? Do you agree with me? 67011. Also, Stan Bowman is going to join us in the 1 o'clock hour, Blackhawk assistant GM. If you'd like to email us, text us, or phone in with a question for Stan Bowman, I know Jay Zawoski's got a bunch of things. I've got a whole yellow pad full. We're going to have plenty of Blackhawk talk for the next 2 hours. But Assistant GM Stan Bowman at 1 p.m., 644-6767. Let me ask you this. How nervous were you last night watching the Hawks game? I did something that I don't think I've ever done before. My personal way, mentally, to combat the excitement. The nervousness is a better word. How nervous were you last night? I hit the mute button. I turned the sound off. Now, I don't know what provoked me to do that. I don't even know if it helped. But I was so nervous watching that game when they come back to tie it 2-2, Taves with the redirect on Steger's shot, Buffy there blocking the view. I got so nervous. I found I was a little less nervous hitting the mute button. Have you ever done that? You know what? It worked, at least for me. What did you do last night to be a little less nervous? Pounding one of our sponsors' fine beverages, I would imagine. 644-6767. And baseball fans, I heard a little rumor about a week ago. Didn't put much credence into it, so didn't even report it. But now I see Chris DeLuca jumps on the story today, which seems to be gaining, as they say, legs. Mark DeRosa appears to be on the trading block by the Cleveland Indians. I want to ask right now, who in Chicago could use him more? The Chicago White Sox or the Chicago Cubs? Who needs D-Row more right now? Cubs or Sox? 644-6767. And we're going to talk a little inside baseball between now and 2 o'clock. A topic called, do you swing at the pitch or do you take a couple? Because I've found out that some of the experts, including our own Score White Sox radio guys, Ed Farmer and DJ, they're from the school of thought that, hey, you know what, these walks, overblown. Taking pitches, nah. Get up there and hack away. Did you watch the Cub game last night? Oh, they were hacking all right. They hacked their way to no runs scored. 67011. Text me yes or no. The home team will win all 7 games, or the Hawks and the Wings. Look at what we have right now. Jay Zawoski, I'm shocked at the results. I want to reseed again. 67011, yes or no. Real quick, get you in, get you out. Because it's easy when you're texting. Will the Blackhawks and the Red Wings all win the home game? Jay, I thought this would be about 99% no and 1% yeah, Murph. It's not, is it? We don't have 99-1.
Nope. No, it's not.
But it's early. It's early in the season. It's early in the show. Let's get back to the phone lines. And car phone Mike on the Score. Hello, Mike.
Hello, Murph. How are you today?
Well, Mike, you know what? Fine, thanks for asking. I was a nervous wreck last night, Mike. They always talk about how, playoff hockey is unlike any other hockey, and that's true. But when it's your own team involved, and it's 2-2 with a few minutes to go in regulation, I went and hit the mute button, and I turned off the sound, and I was a little less nervous. What did you do, or did you just stick with it and get nervous?
Well, I stuck with it, and it's just a disappointing fact is that the defensemen just keep on giving the puck. I mean, 2 goals again last night were scored by miscues by our defensemen, and it happens in a millisecond, and I've played hockey for many years, and I know this, but, you have the supposedly star defenseman who's making the most money.
Hold that thought. Mike, are you looking over my shoulder? Are you here in the studio on my yellow pad? Because you're right on track with me, Michael. I wanted to ask this question a little later, and you can beat everyone to the punch. Should the size of a guy's paycheck, in this case Brian Campbell, should the size of a guy's paycheck equate to how he performs in the big game?
Absolutely. I mean, I think the whole season that Keith and Seabrook both outplayed Campbell. I think that he didn't look as fast as everyone's. I mean, I was expecting great big things from this guy. I think maybe his wallet slowed him down.
Well, that was the follow-up. And again, you're looking over my shoulder. You'd be great sitting here alongside me right now, Michael. So I was going to follow up. So you are saying that the money has affected either one of 2 things. Either the money has affected Brian Campbell, or the Blackhawks misevaluated him when they offered him the big deal, a year or 2 ago.
Exactly.
Which is it?
Well, I think that they overevaluated him from what I've seen.
So then the logical follow-up is it Campbell's fault that he's got the big dough if the Hawks in your opinion, if the Hawks misevaluated him in the first place?
Well, it's not Campbell's fault.
Last night it sure wasn't fun to look at. Hey, let me ask you, on the game-ending goal in overtime, replays showed Patrick Kane it didn't appear to be digging 100% to try to turn the 3-1 odd number rush into a 3-on-2. It would have been nice if Kaner could have got his ass in there, but then I was wondering maybe that was a long line shift and he was gassed. Did you get to take a good look maybe on replay or not? I don't know, of Kane late getting in there to try to make it a 3-on-2 instead of 3-on-1 at the game ender?
I didn't get a chance to really. I mean, I didn't look at it that quick. I mean, I thought that, our defenseman went down just a little bit early. He committed a little early. Which
it's 3-on-1, and I'm not an expert, but it was 3-on-1. Right. You got to commit to at least 2 of them, right?
Exactly.
I thought he went down right in the middle of the 2 on that side, and it was a terrific 3-on-1 puck handling, you must say, by the Red Wings, right?
Absolutely, but I still think the Hawks can play with them.
Oh, I do too. I'll leave you with this, Mike. My text question, and you don't have to text. Yes or no, I believe that this is going to go where the home team wins each of the 7 games. What do you think? It's a long shot.
I think that, but I don't think so.
So, what do you see happening here? Splitting games 3 and 4 and going into Detroit, then down 3-1?
I think it's going to be. I think the Hawks are going to lose 4-2.
Let's go. If it went 7, that would be a pretty damn good year for these kids, no?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you got to look at it that they said last night the statistics show that they're, 3/4 of the team's under 25 years old?
Yeah, I heard at least half the team. They are the youngest team in the NHL. You're exactly right.
So they have a lot to build on. They're in the right direction.
I love it. Hey, Michael, thanks for calling. Love to hear from you anytime.
Okay, Murph.
Thank you, my friend. Appreciate it. And he'll love to hear from you. Vuk! Jeff Vukovich, Murph's nationwide insurance agent of the year. You know Vuk, Park Ridge, family guy for all your insurance needs. 30 years, solid as a rock, big scorehead too. Jeff Vukovich. I want to hear from McHenry, Phil G. He wants to talk about Mark DeRosa. DeRosa trade rumors out there. The Indians may be thinking of moving him. Hello, Phil G.
Hey, well, how are you there, Murph? Yes, first I want to say thank you for taking my call. I am, of course, a Cub fanatic, but speaking about Mark DeRosa, I got a couple comments. Yes, yes, he was, of course, very popular, and he can play, the corners, play the outfield, and so on and so forth. But I think, to be honest with you, I think he'd be better off on the White Sox. The White Sox are kind of in a situation where they need a guy that can play a couple different positions. They're uncertain that they don't have a guy that can really play third base, at least right now. He's not hitting the ball. They got a couple guys. I mean, they're really kind of they're in the middle somewhere. I mean, the White Sox are still trying to find themselves a little bit, where the Cubbies are a little more depth with Ryan Friel. They just picked up Ryan Friel. They got Bobby Scales, and I just think they're a little bit more in depth at that spot. I also want to mention one other thing since we're on the subject. I want to talk about Jake Fox. In the last couple issues of the Tribune.
Let me just mention for the listeners, Jake Fox, Cubs minor league slugger, guy with maybe out of position, college catcher, but he can hit a ton. Go ahead, please.
Well, yes, I just wanted, I wanted to mention that because in the last couple of columns, with Dick Van Dyke and both Paulie Sullivan.
Was it Mary? I think Mary Tyler Moore wrote it.
Well, yes.
Dave Van Dyke, our guy Vandy. Go ahead. I'm just kidding with you.
No, I just wanted to say, I mean, this fella, I don't know, the Cubs seem to, I don't know if they're waiting for a collapse or what in what regard, but, as much as Micah Hoffmeyer, waited last year to kind of get up into the big leagues, this fella, can match him or do better. I mean, he could play first base.
Well, that's the problem. See, evidently, I've never seen him other than a few games here and there at spring training, but evidently he cannot play first base.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
nor can he catch, nor can he play the outfield.
Well, he can play first base.
No. Don't keep. See, I don't want to interrupt you, Phil, but evidently he cannot.
Well, from what I understand, reading it now, again, going back to his college days, doing some research.
He was a catcher in college. College.
That's right. But I also, in spring training, I've seen just a little bit of him. But again, he's been, a fellow that, even Lou Pinella's made a point of even saying that he's played a little bit of him at third base.
Well, here's the thing: he's leading AAA in the Triple Crown. In other words, he's leading his league in homers, RBIs, and batting average. Jim Hendry said today, I feel sort of sorry for the kid. He's hitting the cover off the ball. Here's what I know. If the guy's hitting the cover off the ball and he's not in the big leagues, that's probably because he is such a detriment with the glove that maybe he's a AAA guy or an American League DH. Phil, I'd love to see him hammering the balls over the wall, too. I'm not arguing with you.
Well, let me just say this.
Yes.
But if Derek Lee or if one of the top guys, if Micah Hoffmeyer goes down, if there's another key injury, he's the next fellow to get called up. It's just like with Randy Wells and Bobby Scales. It's the same situation. I mean, I'm just waiting for this guy to get his opportunity because this team needs his bat.
Well, again, there's no DH in the National League, and you only got 25 men. You got 12 pitchers, 8 starting position guys. You got 5 men only on the bench. One's the backup catcher. So you really only have 4 men to maneuver. You need double switches in the NL. You know all this, Phil, where you can get into the field in a double switch. Phil, phone again, buddy. I got to run.
Okay. Thanks a lot.
I appreciate it very much. Sports Radio 670. How about this note? Mark Burley has 176 quality starts in his career. This is from the Tribune. 176 quality starts by pitcher Mark Burley since 2001, the most in all of baseball during that span. Back in a flash, Murphapalooza, driven to you by ChevyDriveChicago.com. And we'll have Scotty Bowman's son, Stan Bowman, at 1 o'clock. Phone lines are jumping. Who needs to roast some more, Cubs or Sox?
I don't think we've seen it all year, but we've given up 3 goals with the puck possession, the offensive blue line, and we have the puck. We don't even block shots, and all 3 of them are in our net, and all huge goals.
Coach Q talking about, well, his defenseman. The end of the game, Seabrook with Seabrook was the other guy, right? Jay Zawoski he was talking about.
Yeah, it was him in the breakaway for Dan Cleary.
Hey, Jay, I got a few questions here for 1 o'clock. Let me run these by you in a minute for Assistant General Manager of the Blackhawks, Stan Bowman. I'm going to ask, is this a fair question? I'm going to say, hey, Stan, who plants themselves in front of goalie Osgood other than Bufflin? Who else do we have, Jay?
I think the next guy in line would be Troy Brouwer.
All right.
But I think there need to be more options than just 2. They need to have a guy who can do that on every line.
Did I hear the Red Wings
willing to do it?
When they have the puck and they're shooting, they never have a guy behind a net. You know, like often they always have. Is that pretty much their standard offense? Is they almost always have a guy in front of the goalie? That was just a call, or maybe I even heard last night to your show, or maybe this morning to Mully and Hanley. Or
yeah, it depends on their lines. You know. Power play usually want to have a guy behind there and trying to center the puck out, but it varies. They do have Thomas Holmstrom, who's the best in the league in front of the net. So
I'm going to ask Stan Bowman this, Jay Zawoski, in-house Blackhawk expert, Murph Show producer. Does strategy differ? I'm sure it does. How does strategy differ in overtime than, and there's not, you know, the regular season you have the 4-on-4, the different overtime. This is actually sudden, well, there's no shootout. You play forever, as we know. How is the strategy different for coaches, for players, in overtime in the playoffs than during the game itself? Or is there?
It's a good question.
Well, I Stan Bowman. I want to ask you first.
Oh, you want to ask me?
Yeah.
I think that definitely it's more wide open. If you play tentative, like the Hawks played in the second period yesterday, you can't do that in overtime because one shot can end it. You don't have time to come back. So you have to be a little more,
aggressive on offense?
More aggressive offensively in overtime.
So Patrick Kane, who could have gotten back to have been the second in the 3-on-1 break to end the game, could have been at least maybe 3-on-2. He wasn't necessarily out of position because you're trying to be more aggressive, and the Hawks had the puck until the turnover by Campbell.
Right, they had something going there. Definitely, they were trying to set up an offensive play there.
So a turnover is more deadly, I'm guessing, I'm playing along with what you just said, in overtime because you're going to have less chance for guys maybe to be distributed in your offensive zone down there. If you have to get back, it's going to be tougher because you might be a little more wide open, like you said.
Right, it creates odd man rushes, and your forwards who are deep can't get back, and especially the Hawks who play that behind-the-net style a lot.
Is 3-on-1 an odd man rush like 3-on-2? It's real odd.
Yes.
Very odd.
Not odd enough for the Hawks, though.
Not good odd. John from Rolling Meadows, I think, wants to talk about the odd man rush, etc. Hello, John.
Hey, Murph. I watched that play by our star defenseman there.
Brian Campbell.
You don't try the wraparound behind your back there in that situation because first of all, it's too long a pass to make. And second of all, you lose sight of where the puck is when it's behind your back. You can't control it as well.
Now, more than that, let me augment, and this is just what I've heard today. I'm not an expert, John, but 2 other things. Brian Hanley called it the backhand feather pass. And then it was Eddie Olczyk earlier today. Miss a little, miss a lot. Mully and Hanley, and John and Rolling Meadows, maybe you'll agree probably with Eddie Olczyk. He says once you initiate a backhand, he says, the defense, they know now. You're telegraphing it. There is very few things you can do once you start that backhand. In other words, you can't stick handle, you can't deke. So
That and he was on his off wing too, so you know he wasn't. He's a right-handed shot, and he was on the left side of the ice when he tried that pass. So, but I want to get to this on the 3-on-1 break.
Yes.
If you're the only defenseman back, you make the guy that has the puck shoot. You take the other two guys and you stay between them, and that way, if he does try to make the pass, you can knock it away from him, and the goaltender can set his sights on the one guy that has the puck. And that way, you're taking the other two guys out of it.
So that was you're talking about Barker, right?
Yeah.
All right. So let me hold on. Let me do this in my hold on, please. Let me do this in my head. So it's 3-on-1. And they're coming down, spread across 3-on-1. If you are Barker, he sort of went over between the if you will, the right wing and the center man in that situation. You're saying he should have stayed more squared up with the center man, or what?
He should have. The guy with the puck, the goalie always takes the guy with the puck. The guy back kind of centers on the other two guys, stays in between them, just in case, you know. This way, the goalie's got his sights on the puck.
I got you.
And he's got nobody to help.
Let me try to paint the picture over the radio. So if you were Hobby Bullen, you're looking towards the left. And so you're saying that Barker, instead of also going over that way where the puck was, he should have taken the center man and the left wing on Hobby's right and let Hobby go one-on-one with the man with the puck.
That's the way you always work an odd man break.
All right.
If you're the one guy back,
even if it's 3-on-1, right? Even
the guy with the puck.
3-on-1.
Always the guy with the puck. The goalie has to center on. The other two guys, you stay in between them.
I love it.
And make it a one-on-one instead.
Rolling Meadows, John, you sound like you know what you're talking about.
Congratulations. You've just been named the Browns Chicken Caller of the Show.
Hey, John, go visit my friend Browns. You know it tastes better, all right, buddy?
Thanks, Murph.
All right, nicely done. Gee, did John know what he was talking about there? It sounded pretty good.
Yeah, he's right on the mark. That's
Thank goodness.
Exactly right.
I hate sending callers to the show to Browns if they don't know what they're talking about. Back in a flash, it's Murph. Everyone on hold, we're talking hockey. I still predict, I predict the home team will win all 7 games, which is not bad. And trade rumors in the paper today, the Sun-Times. Chris DeLuca talking about Mark DeRosa. There's a couple tongue twisters when you say those back-to-back. Mark DeRosa might be in a trading block with the Indians. Who needs him more? The White Sox or the Cubs? I guess the Brewers are sniffing to put him at second for Ricky Weeks, and the Mets are sniffing to put him at first base for Carlos Delgado. And for a little amusement, go check out the Indians' box score last night. Another whoops for Kerry Wood. He did the same thing Kevin Gregg did 2 days ago. Sports Radio 670, the score. Almost identical. No. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Murph with you. We have Blackhawk assistant GM Stan Bowman coming on at around 1 o'clock or so. Stick around for that. And we'll get right back to the phone lines. Talking Hawks hockey. You know what? We're up to 20% agree with me. Yes. 80% no. Which for such a crazy, goofy, long shot prediction, I'm pretty impressed with the amount of scoreheads that are blindly following my prediction. I say the home team will win all 7 games. And 18 now, though, from 20 down. 18% of you say, yeah, Murph, you know what? I think you're right. 67011. We're also asking baseball fans, who needs Mark DeRosa more right now, the Cubs or the Sox? He might be, it appears, on a Cleveland Indian trading block. Check out, if you have a minute, I'll give you the facts momentarily. Kerry Wood's outing for the Cleveland Indians, who coughed it up last night in the 9th inning to the Kansas City Royals. And I want to, Steve Conroy does a great job over at Comcast, and he was on, I believe it was, with Mully and Hanley last week. Oh, by the way, you gotta see Jack.com. Jack Phelan Chevrolet, home of the GM Total Confidence Package. You know, the 5 years, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty and all the other guarantees. Check it all out at Jack Phelan Chevrolet. You gotta see Jack.com. Now, before I trigger this, Jay Zawoski, if I recall, because this was a week ago we wrapped this up, we're going to hear Steve Conrad with Mully and Hanley, I believe, right?
Correct.
And this was when the Wings were, I think, in Game 7 with the Ducks.
Right, the Wings and Ducks headed to Game 7.
By the way, Jay, you were one of the many that said, bring on the Red Wings. I was saying, you know what, I think the Ducks is a better match. Do you have any regrets on that now? Yes, sir?
I don't think I was bring them on. I think I had reservations and good feelings about both teams.
See, now that you're
undecided.
Now that you're an on-air guy, though, and you do a great job.
I know I need to step out
more.
Well,
no. Quite the opposite. Now I can put words in your mouth. See?
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
Though, when you do make a prediction that backfires, you can always use my old little one-liner. Hey, I have the responsibility to risk being wrong.
That's right.
Right? So I thought you were sort of saying bring on the Red Wings as opposed to the Ducks.
The fan of me wanted the Red Wings.
All
the
right.
analyst in me did not.
All right, let's go back about a week. Here's Steve Conroy on Mully and Hanley, and he's going to talk about matching up the Hawks. Was it with Detroit, or do you remember what we have here, Jim?
Yeah, it was how the Hawks match up against Red Wings in Anaheim.
I think what you have to do with that team is match them skill for skill, and when you look at them from top to bottom, from their first line to their fourth line and all three sets of D, it's tough to match their skill, especially when Joel Quenneville made a minor adjustment partway through the series where he moved Patrick Sharp down to the line with Adam Burish and Ben Eager. Well, Adam Burish and Ben Eager are fourth-line guys, and all of a sudden you've got one of the leading scorers on the team playing on your fourth line. I mean, that's a huge weapon to have when you're a coach, and I think unless you can match them, and the depth that the Blackhawks have, it's pretty tough to keep up with them.
Well, line changes occurred again last night. Coach Q trying to shuffle the deck. Stole Lou Pinella's Lubik's Cube after the game. Hey, Coach Q, what about those line changes?
Well, we just wanted a little more balance. We still like everybody's played with everybody throughout the year. I just think that we had consistency in our game. Second period has slowed down a little bit, but I think guys are compatible with whoever they're out there with, and we've got some different options, and I thought we did some good things. Tough loss, though.
Let's get back to the phone line. Sugar Grove John is next on the score. Hello, John.
How you doing, Murph?
Good, John. I had to hit the mute button. I kept watching, but I got so nervous after they tied it 2-2 with 7 minutes in regulation. I hit that mute button. I just couldn't take it. That was nerve-wracking, my friend.
Well, I shut it off in the second period.
No!
2-1. I couldn't take it no more.
Well, I don't feel so bad then, just hitting the mute button. What do you have, John? What do you got for me?
You know what? I don't know if I ever heard it before from the station, but you guys never touched on Howie Bullen before.
Yeah, good point. You know what? Bring it up. Bring it up last night all year.
He makes a lot of great saves, which good goaltenders do, but good goalies also make the easy, soft saves, And yesterday, he let that soft one from the blue line that he clearly seen, that tied the game up. And the Hawks had all the momentum going. In Game 1, Cleary scored from the top of the circle.
Yeah.
Okay, when the Hawks had all the momentum going to tie the game up. He has to stop these soft goals.
I don't know how he let the one in Game 1 through.
Well, I just don't understand. I think he needs glasses. Every time they shoot from the blue line.
I thought Derek Lee needed glasses. They went 4 for 4. Jay Zawoski, say hi to Sugar Grove John here.
Hey, John, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
Jay, what's your read on Game 2? I thought Hobby was on fire last night.
He did play well last night. He made all the saves he needed to make. I can't blame him for any of the goals scored last night. But throughout the playoffs, he's let in soft goals. And you can't do that against the Red Wings. In Game 1, 2 soft goals were the difference in the game. And while he made some huge saves in the second, he's got to come up big on those tough saves. Any goalie can make the routine save. It's the elite goalie who can make the huge save and stop the soft ones from going in.
Exactly. I agree totally. And that's what scares me. Every time they wind up from the blue line, the top of the circle, they're going to score a goal, it seems like. They never score from the crease. It seems like they're scoring from the outside.
Hey, John, I can tell you know the game of hockey. How does hockey change in overtime in the playoffs? How do you view overtime, strategy-wise or flow?
No mistakes. No mistakes. As you see yesterday, you make one little mistake, a good team's going to make you pay. And the Hawks don't have a hot goalie like Osgood. If it was a 3-on-1 the other way, Osgood probably would have stopped it. Who knows? But, you've seen it coming. It's a 3-on-1. You know it's over. I knew it was over before you shot the puck.
That's when you shut the TV off when it's a 3-on-1 right?
It was horrible.
I know.
I made myself a scotch on the rocks. I was so nervous.
Just one?
Well, then I had another one. I was so upset.
Hey, John, good to talk with you. Thanks.
Thanks, Murph.
Appreciate it very, very much. Let's go next to Downtown John is on the score with Murph. Hello, John. Hello. There we go. I'm sorry. Hello, John.
Murph.
Yes, sir. How are you? You're on the air.
Hey, good. How about you? How you doing?
Good, thank you.
Hey, I got to agree a little bit about Hobby Bowen. You know, the goaltender has to make the big saves. No different than a pitcher in a big game. You got to get the big out. You know, every now and then a pitcher's going to face Pujols with bases loaded.
Are you saying that on the 3-on-1 he should have stopped it?
Well, I believe so, but you know what? If I did 3-on-1, if I remember correctly, wasn't the defenseman trying to catch the play?
From behind, you mean?
Yeah.
Well, no, there was one guy between the goalie, between Hobby and the three rushmen.
I thought someone was chasing.
Well, that was Kane and was it Broward or Bowler? There was a third guy, but they never caught him.
I wonder if anybody would agree with me that somebody should have probably hooked him and took the penalty shot. You got your chances. Now with a 3-on-1, you got two potential shooters instead of one.
And you're talking about the game ender.
Yeah, right.
The reason I ask is my next caller is going to talk about the same strategy for Cleary's breakaway, the second goal by Detroit.
Yeah, somebody should have. I'd rather see the penalty shot and let the goalie go one-on-one with him.
Gotcha. Hey, John.
Hey, what about Emmerich? Is anybody but me tired of listening to this guy already?
Is that Doc?
Yeah. He couldn't praise Detroit enough. Every now and then throw a good comment in about the Hawks.
Now, so you're talking about the play-by-play guy that Doc.
Right.
Yeah. Well, you know, Eddie Olczyk.
Eddie kept preaching on like get the puck on the boards. Campbell probably should have done that, but I don't want to be
I think Eddie could do it. I think Eddie could save versus one paycheck and do both jobs himself.
He probably should.
Thanks, John.
He's way better than that guy.
Appreciate it. Who's this Doc guy, Jay Zawoski?
Yeah, Mike Emmerich.
Okay.
I don't know if he's
I like the columnist over at the Daily Herald. I love him. Oh, Mike Emmerich.
Yeah, Mike Emmerich. Not to be confused with the great Mike Emmerich, but
they both have ponytails. So this guy, was he a famous? Was he an announcer guy or an ex-athlete guy or just a play-by-play guy? Right?
Yeah, just a play-by-play. I don't think he knows hockey real well, to be honest with you.
I know, because Eddie kept like not only stepping on, but like just barging right in. They go, "Oh, excuse me, Doc, but let me say this."
He uses terms that no one uses in hockey, too. It canceled out. He canceled that out.
Put the biscuit in the basket.
We're not banking here.
Lincolnwood Chris is on the score. Hello. That's a bum chick.
Hey,
hello,
how you guys doing today? Beautiful day, huh?
Oh, it's a beautiful day because the Hawks are going to win the next two.
You know, it's a distinct possibility.
I love it. I love it.
I think they're going to win the Friday night game for sure.
Well, I think the home team will win all. Hey, if the home team wins all 7 games and the Hawks lose Game 7 in Detroit, even though they didn't win the Stanley Cup, you got to say it was a hell of a year, right?
I predicted a 7-game series from the get-go.
Chris. All right, Chris. I've been interrupting you. You interrupt me. Go ahead.
Well, a couple things about the game last night. I think you guys, not you in particular, have been a little harsh on Hobby Bowen. First of all, we can forget about the other 2 series because they've won them, and now we're where we're at. An empty net goal for the 5th goal. But he faced 40 shots last night, 40 plus maybe, and.
Well, I think Jay Zawoski, who you're referring to, Jay, and come back on with Lincoln, with Chris Jay, to paraphrase and put words in your mouth. You said Hobby had a good game last night, but he's let some soft goals in during the other parts of the playoff.
Okay. The one point that I'm going to make about, I think, was on that Cleary goal. I thought that maybe, and I can't remember who was the closest defender once he broke away.
Yeah, it was a straight breakaway. You're saying they should have hit him from behind and forced a penalty shot.
He could have taken him down.
Let me ask you this. I'm not going to disagree with you. Would the Red Wings have done that? I think they would have.
Well,
if it were the other way around.
The smart play, and, at that point in time, it's not necessarily going to be a penalty shot. That's the referee's call. Is he clearly,
okay. They're going to blow the whistle on that, especially in Detroit. But we'll kick that around. Hey, Chris, thanks for checking in, my friend.
All right.
All right, buddy.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Let's look forward to Friday and Sunday.
Yeah, I love it. Well, hopefully lots of goals, lots of action. It's going to be 2-2 after Sunday's 2 o'clock game. Oh, thetowngroup.com. I've been telling you, if you're the big facility operations manager, thetowngroup.com. You know my guys, they do it right. The white trucks, red stripes, West Town, North Town, Southwest Town, and Northwest Town. Big piping, chiller, air conditioning, sophisticated mechanical HVAC work. thetowngroup.com. Murph.com. Back in a flash, Murphapalooza. Oh, yeah. This hour's been brought to you by Future Vision Laser Centers. A better vision for your future. Give them a call, 630-920-5880. Stan Bowman, assistant GM of the Blackhawks, joins me at 1 o'clock. And plenty of baseball still to get to. The Cubs have 6 starting pitchers. I hope Lou does the right thing. I'll tell him if he needs some help.
So we good to get down.
That was Derek Lee. Said a mouthful there. Couldn't work the count on Joel Pinheiro with the little N-Y tilde on the end. Joel sounds like Superman. Now, here's the thing. How about a little quick look at Mike Murphy's baseball yellow pad? Number 1. Cubs continued last night to swing and hit the first pitch. No chance to get deep into the count. But Derek Lee said right there, how are you going to do that when he's throwing all strikes? Next hour, we're going to replay a little bit of a interesting discussion, a little inside baseball from Ed Farmer and DJ. Also, we'll talk Cubs with you after Stan Bowman joins me in a few minutes, talking Hawks hockey, the assistant GM. We're going to talk about Fontenot, Samardzija, Jake Fox, David Patton, Zambrano. Sox fan, we're going to talk about Brian Anderson, Contreras, Gordon Beckham. Give you a sneak preview. Now I say no. Do not be bringing up Gordon Beckham, at least not at this time. Sports Radio 670. It's Murph, driven to you by ChevyDriveChicago.com. Final text results. 20% go, yeah, Murph, you're right. The home team will win all 7 games. 80% go, what are you, crazy? Welcome back, everybody. Murph with hour number 2. Let's talk a little Blackhawk hockey. Celebrity line ringing. Let's go to the United Center. Assistant General Manager, Chicago Blackhawks, Stan Bowman joins Murph. It's Mike Murphy. Hello, Stan.
Hi, Mike. How are you?
I'm fine. Stan, I got to tell you this. You're a young fella. I sneaked a little peek at your bio. I remember watching your dad, Scotty Bowman, with the expansion St. Louis Blues back in the late 60s at the old Chicago Stadium. And it was just a pleasure watching the professional consummate coach. And Stan, now as a fan, I've been a fan all my life, but I'm not an expert. And last night's game, the Hawks fans, we were so jacked up, and they tie the game. And I want to ask you a question about overtime play in the playoffs. How is it different? As a fan, it's different. How does the strategy maybe change? How's the philosophy, the flow of the game? What's different in playoff hockey when it's overtime like last night, Stan?
Well, I think what you see sometimes in the playoffs, there can be multiple overtime games, meaning the game could go 6 periods.
Right,
so,
right.
Usually the games tend to end quickly or they go on for a long time. So there's that initial surge, in the first 5 or 10 minutes when it's pretty exciting, and then after that, things settle in, and it can be really careful because guys start to get tired after playing hockey for a few hours and with lots of chances each way. So fatigue can set in. But last night it was unfortunately a short ending for us.
Yeah, I've had a few emails already today and callers to our other shows, and they talked about the 3-on-1, the breakaway to end the game right there, the game ender. And a few of the fans have said, boy, I wonder if good old number 88, Patrick Kane, maybe was on a long shift by that time. Didn't seem like he had that final little kick, to make it a 3-on-2 instead of a 3-on-1. But it's tough to stop a 3-on-1, isn't it, Stan?
It is. I mean, obviously you always want your forwards to come back, but, in that, this is why I've watched the replay a few times. It really would have been difficult to catch their forwards. They had quite a start on him. So, yeah. The turnovers are difficult to handle. We've had a few of them the first couple games here, and when you play against a talented team, they tend to cash in on those chances, and that's what's happened so far. So we've got to do a little better job of limiting those 3-on-1 opportunities because it's really tough to stop that type of a situation.
Stan Bowman, Hawks assistant GM. A couple minutes with Mike Murphy. Had a few other callers today, and this could be any sport. Stan, it could be baseball or football or basketball or the NHL. And when a big money guy has a breakdown near the end of the game. You know what the callers, these are the fans. Sure. We don't filter the calls here at the Score.
Right.
And, come on, Murph, Brian Campbell's the big money guy. How can he turn the puck over? And, my response would be the same if it was Soriano dropping a ball in left field or Jim Thome striking out. You know what I say? Just because the guy's got the larger contract doesn't mean that every time, the ball comes his way, he's going to perform. But on the other hand, the fans don't always like that answer. What did you see as maybe the thing that went wrong for Campbell at the end there, Stan?
Well, Mike, I think, obviously when that ends the game, it's in the fans' minds and it's understandable. But I think in general, you got to look at, mistakes happen to everybody in a game. And sometimes you can make a blunder and someone else will cover your back and no one really talks about it. But the game ended as a result of that, so people are going to mention it. But, in general, Brian has really been playing great for us the last, series and a half. In that Vancouver series, he really stepped up big time, and he was the big reason that we won a few of those games. And, his skating ability, his ability to back the other team off. I think you have to look at both sides of it. I'm sure, it wasn't his intention to turn the puck over there. Yeah. And, those things do happen, but you got to regroup. And, there are other things that happen in the game, so it's not fair to just focus on one guy.
Another minute or two with Stan Bowman, Hawks assistant GM. Oh, by the way, thetowngroup.com. Those are my guys for the big HVAC projects, piping, chillers, sophisticated HVAC. Thetowngroup.com. The white trucks, the red stripes, West Town, North Town, Southwest Town, and Northwest Town. Thetowngroup.com. How's your heating and air conditioning, Stan? You okay? Do you need the towngroup.com? Are you okay on that?
I'm doing good, but I'll keep them in mind.
Stan, I'm not an X's and O's guy, but I was, when someone plants themselves in front of the goalie, even a guy like me goes, boy, that makes it tough for the goalie. Sure. Now, Buff does a great job, Bufflin, but, who else do we have? Who are our guys that plant themselves, not everybody's cut out to do that, of course.
No, you have to be first willing to do it. You have to be big enough to be able to do that. And I think we've got, Troy Brower, Andrew Ladd. Andrew Ladd scored the overtime winner here by being in front of the net, recently. So I think, we've got 3 or 4 guys, if you look at Buffalo and even Ben Eager's a big body, they're willing to pay the price. And even Jonathan Toews has been going to the net more. So we've got guys that do that as well. And Detroit has made a name for themselves, having Holmstrom and Franzen, and they've got some big guys that like to go there. And it does disrupt the goaltender, so it's a good tactic.
As far as your minor league guys, and as an assistant GM, I know your scope is very large, not just the big club, but your other clubs down the line. Can you develop a guy, like in baseball? Fans will go, Murph, they don't teach these guys to bunt the Sox and the Cubs in the minors. I don't know, maybe they do, maybe they don't. They try. You can't make a guy bunt if he doesn't want to maybe do it. My question is, the big guy in front of the goalie, like you've just been talking about, can you develop a guy like that? Because the first thing you said was, I believe, he has to have the will. He has to will himself. He wants to have to do it in his mind first. How can you develop guys to do that, or can you?
Well, I think you can, certainly. I think you can develop their technique. The will is something that has to come from within, but I think it's, the hockey players in general are pretty interested in making it to the NHL. And if you take a guy aside and you tell him that this is going to be your ticket to being an NHL player, I think they'll kind of find that will within themselves. And, we do work on that in our team in Rockford, and we try to develop guys who can play that role, who have the size, and you work on their technique. It's not just a matter of standing there. You've got to follow the play and be in the right position and take the abuse, and there's a lot of things that go into it, but we do work on that.
Last night, I got to admit something, Stan. Watching the game on TV here in Chicago last night, I told this on the air a few minutes ago. I'm not proud of this. I had to hit the mute button, turn the sound off. I love Eddie Olczyk and watching the game, but I got so nervous after we tied it up 2-2 at the 7-minute mark. Taves. I couldn't I had to just watch it. you were probably there. You can't turn off the mute button. How do you handle the nerves watching, or is it more like a job and you just watch the game develop?
Oh, no, we get into it as well. I mean, it's
Yeah.
a pretty intense time, so I think, most of us are pretty focused. It's pretty intense, even just watching the game. So you're on the edge of your seat, and you're trying to watch the game to see if you can notice anything that might help out, and improve the way you could play. So it's definitely a trying time.
I would imagine a guy like you, when I watch a baseball game at the ballpark, I don't watch the ball. In other words, let's say bases are loaded and, Ryan Terrio or Paul Konerko hits a gapper and 3 runs are going to score.
Mm-hmm.
Stan, you realize that about 99% of the people in the stadium, and this is no slight on them, but they watch the ball.
Sure.
They watch the ball roll all the way to the wall, and I'm thinking to myself, well, I know that ball ain't going to take a left turn. So I watch the cutoff men. I watch the runners running the bases. What is a guy like you, and I could, this is very general, but you don't always watch the puck. What do you like to watch, maybe in a non-Blackhawk game when you're like scouting and just looking at the whole, what do you watch?
Well, it depends on what you're doing. If you're looking for individual players, trying to find out, what kind of a player might help your team, you're watching that player away from the puck and seeing how he approaches things, seeing if he bails out of getting hit or seeing if he goes and finishes his check. If you're watching more systems-wise, if you're trying to see how a team plays, you're going to watch, what their structure is in terms of their forwards and their defensemen. Do they stay close together? Do they support each other? Do they just get the puck in? Do they forecheck? So there's a lot of things that you can pick up, but you kind of have to be at the game to do that. It's hard to do that from TV.
Because you can't see that damn puck. It's so little on TV. No, just kidding. No, that's what we hear. Some people, I can't see the damn puck. Stan Bowman, final thing or two. By the way, this hour of the score brought to you by Menards. Rocky was on, Rockwell Wirtz was on the score the other morning with Mully and Hanley, and he had some great things to say. He said, Stan is our numbers guy, a nitty-gritty guy, our brain trust, behind the scenes right there. What did he mean you're the numbers guy? Did he mean the financial numbers or more like the statistical analysis when Rocky said you're one of our numbers guys? What did he mean by that?
Well, I think he probably meant the salary cap has become a relatively new phenomenon in the NHL. It's only been around a couple of years, but it's really become prevalent in building a successful team. You have to be able to manage how you allocate your money, and that's something I spend a lot of my time on, determining which young players are going to earn their bonuses and how is that going to play out a year or two from now when they're going to be up for a new contract. And you've got lots of things going on within each season. Certain players are up for new contracts, certain ones have a few more to go, so you have to balance that and you have to juggle that so that you don't put yourself in a tough spot down the road, but you also want to be strong in the moment. So it's kind of a short-term versus long-term act, and that's something that I spent a lot of time working on.
So you're probably guessing that I'm going to follow up with, well, what about Hobby Boolin's money? But I'm not going there. You know where I'm going, Stan? How about the quote from Detroit Red Wings coach Mike Babcock? Did you see what he said the other day? He said, I hope these Blackhawks young players keep doing well, not when they play the Red Wings, he said, but keep doing well, keep scoring, so that they have salary cap trouble and can't keep them all. I guess he's talking about you.
Well, I'll take that, though, because the better our guys do, then the better our team will do. So, I mean, it's going to be a challenge. There's no way around that, but it's a challenge for all teams, so we're not unique to that. We've fortunately got a lot of great young players here, and, they are having good seasons, and, they're going to be rewarded accordingly. So we'll work it out eventually, but I'd rather have a problem of guys having too much success than not enough.
I guess those 1967 St. Louis Blues didn't have to worry so much about the salary cap back then, right?
Not back then, they didn't, no.
At least from what Dad told you. Hey, Stan, we'll spring you. By the way, here's a song. Crank this up, Jay Zawoski, for Stan Bowman. We want to hear this song often. Games 3 and Games 4 at the United Center. We want a lot of goals scored out there. Can we put the Hawks down for a couple home victories here, Stan?
I sure hope we're going to have some home cooking. We're looking forward to it.
Louder, Jay. There we are. Will we see you waving the white hanky out there and the red towel maybe, Stan, if they really get... how about an overtime victory to even it up? What do you think?
I was thinking more like a 5-0 victory, but I'll take any victory at this point.
Well, if it's 5-0, I won't have to hit the mute button. I'll be able to watch and listen.
Right.
Hey, Stan, thanks for your time. Best of success. It's been a great run and no reason to stop now. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Bye-bye. Talk to you later. Stan Bowman, assistant GM, Chicago Blackhawks. It's Murph back in a flash. Tell you what, if you want to follow up on any of our hockey talk, dial quickly 644-6767. I also want to get heavy into Mike Murphy's baseball notebook. Cubs and Sox in 2 of the first key series of the year. And we're going to also talk a little bit about some inside baseball, taking some pitches or swinging at them. Our White Sox announcers here on The Score, they had some thoughts on that the other day. Back in a flash, Sports Radio 670, The Score. Murph, driven to you by Chevy. DriveChicago.com. Murph till 2. Dirt Cheap, welcome back. We'll get to some baseball talk, but we're going to slide in a Lamont, Illinois, Greg on the phone, hockey call. Hello, Greg.
Yeah, how you doing?
Good, thanks.
Earlier in the day, I kind of had the same attitude as everybody else, as far as maybe Campbell making a mistake, making the turnover and everything. But
well, he did. I mean, there's no doubt he did. But now you've got to follow. What did you change over the last few hours, Greg?
Well, after listening to Stan and a couple other people, that were on as guests talking, I thought maybe that it's not the right thing to be second-guessing, in that situation as a player. Mm-hmm. And that's something as a fan that maybe you don't want him to do. If he sees something open, and thinks he sees it or whatever, maybe, you don't want him to second-guess. Maybe there's maybe there is a play that he could have made and could have changed the game, and maybe the next time it turns out differently.
Greg, and I like your angle. Wouldn't it be interesting in sports, all sports, if we never knew the salaries of the players? Now, this has sort of dawned on me, talking today about Campbell and the big paycheck and making a mistake at the worst possible time. Maybe it'd be a whole topic another time on a sports talk show of mine down the line. But, Greg, wouldn't it be interesting if, we never had any idea that this was a high-paid guy and this was a low-paid guy?
Yeah, it would make things a little more honest, I think.
You would evaluate the players equally, not based on their free agent paycheck.
Yeah, you probably wouldn't scrutinize as much for something that, if you didn't know if he didn't make a lot of money or not.
Interesting. Hey, Greg, thanks for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. And Northwest Side Mike on the Score. Hello, Mike.
Hey, Murph, how you doing?
Good. 20% agree with me. The home team will win every game. The Hawks will lose, therefore, Game 7 in Detroit. Do you think it can go that far?
I was just going to say, I'd love to see that. I'd like to have that opportunity. I'm basically calling because, like all the Hawk fans, I was decimated by that loss.
Yeah.
But, this goes out to those same... Do me a favor, guys. Quit calling in and crying, oh, it was a 3-on-1. He should have been able to stop. First of all, you're dealing with one of the best passing teams in hockey. I don't care who you put in there. Chances are 3-on-1 they're going to score. The bottom line is this. They played a great game yesterday. And you know what? And I'm not making excuses. Sometimes it pays to be a little lucky. And I think Detroit's had some lucky, like in the first game, when Seabrook just a lazy tries to pull the puck to him on the left side. When he was at the blue line in the Detroit zone, and the puck just goes under his stick. Well, the defensive guys on Detroit had the break, and that's how they scored. Last night, unfortunate thing, it happens, but you know what? They took care of it, and they scored the goal. I think when we get here, I don't care if we lose the series. I really don't. I mean, I want them to win, but we can show all the people want to yell Detroit sucks. We can show the people of Detroit what the NHL have to look forward to for the next maybe 5 to 10 years and have one hell of a party tomorrow and Sunday.
I firmly believe the Hawks are going to win Game 3 and 4. I'm not just saying that. But as you talk about luck, which is true, don't forget this. Detroit shot the puck and hit the pipe 2 times last night. And
Take care, Murph.
I appreciate it. catch up on a few things. Scoreboard update around the corner. Joe Bartosh. And we're going to get to some baseball talk. I promise you baseball next. 644-6767. In fact, there's probably at least someone that was a half croissant or fully croissant yelling, "Where's Woody? We should have kept Woody," right? Yep. Now, Woody signed to 2 years at $10 million per year, but that's irrelevant because we don't care about the money.
It's not the money, it's the performance.
So last night, the Indians bring in Kevin Gregg, disguised as Kerry Wood. You have it right there, I understand, right?
Yes, I have the play-by-play.
How did that bottom of the ninth with the 5-2 lead for the Indians, how did that bottom of the ninth go?
Actually, started out quite innocently enough. Jose Guillen grounds out to second.
4-3 in your book.
Then Mike Jacobs homers to center.
Makes it 5-3.
Mark Tian homers to left.
Back-to-back makes it 5-4.
Miguel Olivo walks.
He's pesky.
And here's the key move. Mitch Meyer running for Miguel Olivo. I put a star by that.
Well, of course, that's a tying run on base.
David DeJesus triples to center, scoring the pinch runner.
So now you have a tie game, 5-5, and Woody is still in there with the man on third and one out.
Willie Bloomquist at the plate. Strike one.
So
ball.
That's ball.
Ball. 3-1 count.
Now you could have intentionally walked him right there because this guy means nothing, right? It's already a tie game.
Well, they elected to throw him a pitch. He sack flies to right. DeJesus scores. Game over. Yippee yahoo!
And one of those days where you not only get the BS but the L.
Yeah.
The blown save and the loss.
Did you notice who the winner was, by the way?
Yes, Kevin Farnsworth. Well, he wanted that game to end quickly so he could go find a saloon in Kansas City before they closed down. Thank you very much. To get a sandwich and a 7-Up.
Allegedly.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Joe. All right, let's talk a little baseball. All right. In a moment, we're going to talk about taking pitches, hitting the first pitch, you see. But from Mike Murphy's baseball notebook, all right, let's talk Fontenot, Samardzija, Jake Fox, David Patton, and Zambrano, and Randy Wells. And then I got some Anderson, Brian Anderson, Jose Contreras, Gordon Beckham. Real quick, Fontenot. Oh, wait, he's going to beat me to the punch. Jim from Evergreen Park. I look up at the screen. You're looking at my yellow pad. Hello, Jim.
What's up, Murph? How are you?
Hey, Jim. Fine. I wanted to touch on a bunch of things. Fontenot on my list, and I see on the screen that you want to jump in also. Go ahead.
Yeah, I heard you mention earlier before the Hawks talk that you were going to talk about Fontenot. And, I heard Randy earlier on with the guys, and he had mentioned that there's a big difference between playing part-time and then playing full-time and kind of getting at the same thing that they've kind of figured Fontenot out and that he's struggling. Obviously, he's struggling at the plate. But I think that a lot of it has to do with playing a position that he's really never played before. I mean, that's not his fault that they didn't have a clear-cut backup for Ramirez, and he was pretty much the option that they went with. And I don't think, except for that one game when he had 2 or 3 errors, he's done that bad of a job. But I think there's definitely a situation where, he's struggling, and I think it's multiplying itself, making it worse that he's playing a position he's not used to playing.
As always, Jim Evergreen Park, you bring a lot of great topics, fresh ideas to the table. He has been, in my opinion, fielding way above where anybody thought. You're right, he had 2 botched up plays early, and he's been pretty flawless in what I've seen since. Now, is there a correlation, and that's the question, between his prolonged slump with his move over to third base? I believe he cooled off when he would be even before Ramirez's injury, but it certainly can't be easy for any player playing quote-unquote out of position to not have it affect your overall play.
Absolutely. I don't think there's any doubt. And again, there might be a situation where he's going to have to go back just like everybody else and make an adjustment. But I also think, similar to the Rosa talk, that it is not early in a sense that they've it's getting towards a quarter of the season or over a quarter of the season, but in a sense that we can't say Jim Henry totally screwed up the offseason because he got rid of DeRosa and he was making assumptions about getting Peavy and he was going to bring Bradley in and it was a money thing. Same thing with Fontenot. Let's not assume that he's not an everyday player just because he's had a couple bad weeks in a row. He's still got 5 home runs and 17 RBIs. I know his average is bad. But,
see, the other thing, everybody has a 3-week slump somewhere in the 26 weeks, 24 weeks, and that's up to the future, chef of the future, to decide if this is just a 3-week slump that every player has in this 6-month season. Jim, you're the best. Thank you, buddy.
Thanks,
appreciate it very much. Also the best, Vuk. Jeff Vukovich is on your side. I've been talking about Vuk for a long, long time. He's Murph's Nationwide Insurance Agent of the Year for all your insurance needs. Jeff Vukovich in Park Ridge. Everybody knows Vuk. Someday you will also, Jeff Vukovich. All right. Real quick, let's rifle through some of these. Jeff Samardzija had another nice outing, according to the clippings today, down at AAA Cubs. Still hoping that he will be a starter. I still think he will be a successful Major League, maybe third, fourth starter. Jake Fox, we talked about him earlier. The guy is winning the Triple Crown at AAA, leading the league in 3 categories, home runs, RBIs, batting average. But he must just be a butcher anywhere you put him, or he'd certainly be with a big league club somewhere by now, or maybe a DH soon. David Patton could be odd man out, the Rule 5 guy, when Zambrano gets activated Friday in San Diego. But you don't automatically lose him if the team you selected him from in the Rule 5 may wish to not have him back. You work out a cash deal, Jim Hendry would, or you offer a AA pitcher of your own back to them, so that's not a done deal. Randy Wells and Sean Marshall, both now with some nice outings as starters. What does that mean for Lou Piniella? A lot of maneuverability. How does he do it? Here's the deal. Sean Marshall will be starting Thursday against St. Louis in St. Louis. He hasn't started or pitched but that 3-pitch outing in probably, about 10 days. What a guy like Piniella could do, every 5th day he could start Marshall, and then 5 days later he could start Wells, and then 5 days later he could start Marshall, and then 5 days later he could start Wells. What does that accomplish? Well, from the 3rd day on till the 2 days before, you got about 7 days then where you got Wells as a bullpen long guy, and then 2-3 days after Marshall's start, you got him for about 7 days as a long man or short man in the bullpen. Lou could really mix and match on it. Sox fans, great to see Brian Anderson back. 1 day too late. You lost that game in Toronto with the mix-up with Nixon left, Pods in center. No one's fault. Short-handed. You have to still wonder why Brian Anderson wasn't with the Sox Monday up in Toronto. Jose Contreras with a 1-hit, 8-inning complete game shutout, or 9 innings. I wasn't sure if I saw 8 or 9 innings. And Gordon Beckham, I was all for bringing him up maybe back at the end of April. But now with the way things are going, I would wait until the Sox reel off at least about a 5-game win streak. You don't want to bring the kid up, in my opinion, while things aren't going well. All right, how about a little inside baseball? Last night's Cubs game. Swinging at the first pitch, and I was getting irritated. Swinging at the first pitch. In fact, in the top of the 4th into the 5th inning, the Cubs batters saw, let me see if I get this right, 5 hitters saw a total of 7 pitches. But then I said to myself, there must have been a scouting report from a Cubs advanced scout that came back to Randy Bush through Jim Hendry down to Lou Piniella to evaluate. The Cubs scouts, advanced scouts, must have suggested swinging at the first pitch. Too much of a coincidence. All these guys swinging and hacking.
It's Alfonso Soriano versus Cardinal starter Joel Pinheiro.
2-bouncer. Brendan Ryan rolls out Soriano. Cubs are making quick outs. Pinheiro now just 35 pitches to get the first 10 outs. Ball strike to Ryan Theriot. Pinheiro coming back, and he couldn't bounce it over Pardon, who throws him out. Some interesting comments from Tony La Russa. Had a bad one last night. He said, I should have waited and had him start tonight and used Pinheiro last night. But having said that, Pinheiro walking right through this Cubs lineup. They go down very quietly. 1 strike on Derek Lee. He singled back up the middle in the second, drives this ball. It's going to carry too far. Right into the mitt of Colby Rasmus. Wow. Joel Pinheiro, Bob, that's his 40th pitch. We're in the 5th inning. Now he's on pace for about an 84, 85 complete game. Bradley grounds out. Pujols stepping on first. 5 outs recorded by Pinheiro in the last 5 or 6 pitches. Unbelievable.
All right, highlights there. Good old Channel 9 WGN TV. The 5 hitters, Soriano, Terrio, Fukudome, Lee, and Bradley. The 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hitters as it would be in the 4th and into the 5th, 7 pitches. It could not have been a coincidence. Here's Derek Lee after the game.
Throwing any balls. I mean, you like to work a pitcher more, but you'd have been 0-2 every time. I mean, he was throwing strikes, so he did a good job.
Yeah, but you were swinging at the first pitch strikes. I got to believe that these hitters, and you know what? It's strategy. It didn't work. Not a second guess, not saying right or wrong. By the way, this hour brought to you by Menards. Now, it was 92 pitches, complete game. Very good guess by Len Casper back there in the 5th inning. He said it'll be about an 85-pitch outing. As you know, the more pitches that you see, the sooner you get into the bullpen, the sooner you get into the back end, the underbelly, let's be honest, the AAA guys that every team has at the end of their bullpen. But to just flail away is something that some baseball experts like. Let's go to WSCR The Score. A couple days ago, our White Sox radio guys, Ed Farmer, Darren Jackson, both played the game. Listen to their angle on should you take a few pitches or just go up there hacking.
I don't know if Paulie got a fastball or not in that situation. I do know this. It was hittable, and he hit it. That's what you're supposed to do. Anything that's in a spot for you to drive, swing at it. Maybe you can tell me when the game started becoming all about walking up there and trying to reach base via the walk and taking so much aggressiveness away from hitters because of it.
I think it all started with the Billy Ball thing, or in Oakland, where we're looking at on-base percentage, and you need to do this, you need to do that. You know what works? You need to swing the bat. That's what you need to do.
How many guys walk their way to the big leagues?
I don't know of any.
That's the beauty of baseball. Everybody's got an opinion. Me, I disagree. Case in point, 3 games in the last couple days. Last Saturday, both the Cubs and the Sox games. The Saturday Cubs game tied 4-4 in the 9th. Leadoff hitter Bobby Scales walks, ends up scoring the winning run. Saturday, the White Sox lost 2-1 to Toronto. But the White Sox run to start the game, Pods walked, first inning, scored on that E2, the throw, steal, and third, remember, in the left field. So there was the walk that won the game for the Cubs, the walk that put the Sox up 1-0 on Saturday. And Monday, the White Sox lost Monday afternoon 3-2 up in Toronto. And if you remember, Tomei tied it with a 2-run homer in the top of the 8th. Guess how Toronto scored in the bottom of the 8th? Dotel walked the leadoff hitter Bautista, and he came around to score. So there's a little inside baseball. Either you say, go up there and hit it, or you say, you know what, let's look over a few pitches. There's no right or wrong answer. It's the Score. It's Murph back in a flash. Driven to you by Chevrolet Drive, ChevyDriveChicago.com. Check it. Go Hawks! Hey, John McDonough was on the Score with Mully and Hanley recently. He's talking about when he goes to a restaurant. What happens, John?
There's a lot of romance attached to this, and I can, only imagine the responses that you're going to hear in bars and restaurants. I know that if I go to a restaurant periodically, you'll hear that Detroit chant from time to time. So I can only imagine over the next couple of weeks what it's going to be like, not only in Chicago, but at the United Center as well.
Detroit sucks!
The Detroit chant. Murph saying, thanks for listening. Thanks for calling. See you later, everybody.